Welcome back to the Cutty and Govy show, Govy. Today, I forgot the balloons, damn it. Today is our 100th episode. Can you believe we have 100 episodes in the can? It's crazy, folks. And it's building and building every week. Our reels that we post every week explode. This week, we had like 410,000 views as of the car ride over here from our last show. And today's Wednesday because I am traveling up north tomorrow for my son's graduation. My little guy, he's graduating high school on Friday morning. Very exciting. And best of luck, Charlie. I'm very, very happy for you. You did a great job. And he's off to college. It's kind of crazy.
100 shows. It's not like TV where we get residuals when you hit that 100.
Well, you do. I don't. You get all the residuals. I get no residuals.
Well, I'm cheering for you to have nice weather because if you're delayed, just remember, I'm going to be calling you.
No, Govy, I intend to do reels the entire experience, what it's like at the Palm Beach International Airport, what it's like in my middle seat in coach, back by the bathroom, squished in between two fat people.
Hopefully they'll take their shoes off so they can actually touch you with their toes.
Yeah, what it's like to eat the prison food that they serve you, because my flight's at 5 o'clock. Do I get a meal?
Well, it depends if you might not even take off until 9. It is.
Do they save the food?
I don't know. They it's going to be a long day. When you get to Philadelphia Airport, it's going to be closed.
I may go back to drinking if it's delayed.
Luckily, they have La Colombe coffee in Philadelphia when you get there.
Yeah, they have great La Colombe. La Colombe Coffee House is coming to our sponsor, Just the Mail. The construction's going great. We have a lot of work done already. Hopefully, we're going to be open in 2 or 3 weeks. And we're really excited about it. We think just from the shopping center alone, we're going to serve 200-300 cups of whatever, tea, coffee, the fancy drinks, all the La Colombe grab-and-go products. It's going to be fun.
So
anyway, Govy, let's start out with the riots in Beverly Hills. Our president, Donald Trump, sending in the National Guard. His battle with Newsom, it's no longer Elon Musk. He's battling new scum, as we call it. But the thing I don't understand, it's driving me crazy. If I live in a $20 million house in Beverly Hills, do I want this knucklehead? Do I want these riots? Do I want these immigrants and these Palestinians tearing my city apart where I can't even drive into Beverly Hills Rodeo Drive why aren't they voting this guy out? Do you want to live in Gaza or do you want to live in Beverly Hills?
Well, I think the biggest problem is right now is Newsom and Karen Bass.
Newscum.
And Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, where I think the country just can't get their mind around this is they're sitting there and Kamala Harris are telling you these are peaceful demonstrations. Now you're watching the news and there's 1,000 podcasters out there. There's a lot of people that are giving you what's actually happening on the ground. And we're getting tired. We're still in shock that mainstream media told you that Joe Biden was okay and that the border was closed. And now they're telling you this is peaceful demonstrations. And
it's kind of crazy, isn't it? Why do they do
that? And
you
would think, come on, we're no longer...
they're showing people at, overpasses throwing rocks on top of cars.
They're taking concrete. They're actually taking the sidewalk with their hammers. They're chewing up the sidewalk, and that is their rocks.
But, what's wrong with America? Why are these newscasters doing this? It's awful what's going on. If I lived in that city and I wanted to drive down the road and somebody's throwing a rock on my car, I wouldn't be happy.
But what's worse is you get people like politicians like Maxine Waters, who was sitting there saying, it's 100% peaceful, no officers were killed. Yet, these same people went crazy on January 6th. January 6th, one politician said 5 people were killed on January 6th. That's not true. It was one person, one girl, shot by a police officer.
Look, that was that, and this is this.
But don't make January 6th. This is worse.
But why can't they just report what's happening? If I'm a reporter and I live in LA, I can't be happy. I'm not happy with this violence.
Well, I think their whole broadcast is by their viewers that are basically, a lot of them maybe are undocumented. This is the first time in history that the awareness now is Los Angeles might have more undocumented people living in the country than Americans. And you have
Well, they're going to need them all to rebuild these houses that burnt down.
well, when you have Karen Bass telling the police to stand down, and that they did not help the ICE officers, which is, by the way, I don't know how it was when a police officer calls for help and you don't help them is ridiculous. And it wasn't peaceful. And I think Donald Trump. And all this, by the way, is over like 10 people that they arrested that were either rapists, murderers, arsonists. But the thing that was crazy is because they have sanctuary laws that they have to follow, they won't turn over someone that they caught. So if they caught a person that's a murderer and ICE says, "Can I have him?" They won't release him to ICE.
It's
And
just
if
so screwed
but if
up.
they did, ICE would just take that guy and they would take him away. Instead, they release this guy. He shows up at a Home Depot. ICE shows up at Home Depot. And when they get this guy, there could be 10 other innocent people they are guilty that they came into the country illegally, but they weren't looking for them. They're just collateral damage. So when everybody says, why is Trump getting them? It's because they're there.
I say we just carve the state off and let these folks kill each other. I mean, what's the difference? I mean, if the residents are willing to tolerate this, I don't even understand why Donald Trump's getting involved. Let them burn the city down. I mean, if they're stupid enough to live there and vote this guy in and allow this destruction.
I don't think they want this to continue. They got to see Karen Bass when you elect a governor and a mayor. You got to see how she handled those fires. She was incompetent. The fires, but the fire commissioner quitting, blaming each other. She was in South Africa at the time. She's so quick to blame everybody rather than taking command of everything. Same with Governor Newsom. If you remember during the fires, he said, wait a second, that's not my job. That's local. Well, here it is, the state.
And they have this train that costs
$20 billion.
Yeah, and it goes nowhere.
Right.
I mean, I would let that state deal with their own issues. I mean, let them.
He's done as far as ever being president of the United States. He's done.
But if you think about it, Govy, I mean, I don't understand why they say it's a straight blue state. Ronald Reagan was the governor. Schwarzenegger was the governor. I mean, they've had some Republicans there.
But it's changed. I think it's now going to go back. Believe it or not, I think it's going to be much closer to red than you think because people have had it already. Don't forget, Newsom was also the first person to say if you shoplift anything under $1,000, you were able to get away with it.
Right.
I mean, and by the way, they changed this rule with looting. Do you know if you have the military there? One reason why the National Guard is there. Do you know if you loot? I think if they call it the Hobb Act. Do you know you could get 20 years in jail if you loot a store and the National Guard is there? Much different than just looting.
Oh, really?
Just looting.
Yeah, but that's a liberal DA, a liberal.
No, it's federal. So the guy that they put a $50,000 warrant on, the guy that was throwing the rocks at the police, this guy's going to go. They're going to make an example. He's going to jail for 20 years.
Boy, I'll tell you that Pam Bondi. Pam, how you doing?
She's
Boy,
great.
you are a real ball buster. And I watched that. What's your press secretary today?
She's great too.
Kayleigh McEnany. What's her name?
That used to be.
Yeah, what's the girl's name?
I forget her.
Holy smokes!
26 years old.
They're asking her. That's an idiot question. Next question. Right. I mean, she's like shouting.
Well, they're asking such stupid questions, and she's But I think the difference that Trump this time is when it was Black Lives Matter and it was Floyd and the cities burned down. And by the way, they watched all of that happen.
So why does he care? Why doesn't he let
because the whole country now is for Trump. They now see what's going on, and they're saying he's entitled to get rid of a murderer. You're allowed to go in there and get him out. What they have seen is that under the Biden administration, they're saying 10 million people came into the country. We know it's probably closer to 20 million. You have some bad guys there. You got to get rid of them, or do you just throw in the towel and let them keep all the murderers and everybody else there?
I say we make it a state for all the murderers and let them live amongst themselves, and then there you go. I mean, let them kill each other.
Do you know this big beautiful bill that Trump wants to pass? Do you know one of the things that are in this bill is on Medicaid? Do you know that the sanctuary cities that give out free medical treatment to undocumented? It's in this bill that you can't. So in this new bill, the federal government can take away all that money. They don't pay for that now. Right now, the federal government pays for California to be giving out Medicaid to undocumented.
But
that's going to come to a stop.
The thing I have a lot of Democratic friends, and I thought I was kind of a Democrat. But I don't know that anybody is siding with any of this crap. I mean, that's going on in California, all these giveaways, all this nonsense I don't know
Well, it's
any
out of control
Democrat.
now. So now they
It's
want.
out of control.
So now they don't want this anymore. And you
Right.
know what's funny? They also get to see that Governor Walz of Minnesota, who was could have been our vice president.
Right.
Well, people,
Coach.
yeah. Well, people forget during COVID, he called out the National Guard. He didn't do it for Floyd, but for COVID. And do you remember the National Guard was walking down the streets, and anybody who came outside, because he had you, by the way, staying inside, they would fire paintballs at you.
Yeah.
That was the National Guard that he turned on American people for coming outside to get fresh air during COVID. But this, they're having a hard time with the National Guard. And then, like I said, Maxine Waters is yelling at him, make sure you shoot straight. I mean, these are guys that they had no problem with the National Guard during the fires.
Yeah, but I
They-
mean, do
they
you
were
really
there.
think Maxine Waters believes any of this? She's 86 years old.
She shouldn't be in office.
That's a reason to have term limits,
Right.
right? But Govy, talking about the press, this Terry Moran from ABC, you called him out. He's the guy that
Moron. It's you can
Moron.
pronounce it
Terry
moron.
Moran. Guy's probably making what, 10 million a year,
No,
5 million
like,
a year?
like a million. A million.
No way. He's the national guy?
I think he's making $1 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Lost his job.
Lost his job. Here's what happened.
Idiot. He's the guy that interviewed Trump like a month ago. Trump said, I don't even know who you are. That's why I'm asking you.
So this is why you don't drink and tweet at the same time.
We used to do that, Govy. I did a lot of drinking and tweeting. You know what I
didn't tweet. I would just do a text.
Oh, we didn't have
messages.
tweets.
I never let it go out to the internet. It maybe would go to one person.
I used to wake up in the morning after a long bender night, and the first thing I did was pick up my phone.
And see what you said?
No, see who I called.
Oh.
See what number I called, and said to myself, oh, geez, I can't believe I called this person or that person.
Well, but this is going out to the universe.
Yeah, tweet. We didn't have tweet. I don't even know how to do a tweet.
But imagine this. Imagine this. Imagine the guy a month ago or 2 months ago was interviewing Donald Trump, and he goes up to his wife and says, George Stephanopoulos, he messed up so much, and David Muir, that Trump doesn't want them to interview him. I get to be top dog right now. The whole world's going to be watching this, and this is great for my career. And then 2 months later,
he blows going in 60 seconds. Right. Left foot, right foot. Where's the book, Cole? Oh, there it is. Yeah. Survival Guide for Business and Life. Great chapter.
And then all of a sudden, he says to his wife, listen, you go to bed. I'm just going to stay up and have one more drink.
A few more martinis.
Yeah. So he has the drink. He fires off these tweets that are ridiculous. You get to...
What were the tweets?
Basically that he's not a partial person in the news, telling not only is Trump like the worst, basically looking into a psychic like he's the devil, basically.
You know what the worst part about this is? There's some scumbag lawyer out there that's going to represent him and sue ABC.
I don't think so, because his contract was up. They're just not renewing it.
Oh, is that what it is?
Basically, his contract was coming up. So here's the thing. Now he has to go up to his wife and say, well, you won't believe what I did last night.
Right.
And she's like, what?
On a brain fart.
I'm now suspended. And then we knew he was going to be fired. And then he's now fired. ABC, Bob Iger, president of ABC Disney, he had a talk with everybody and said, please, don't say anything about Trump that we could be sued. We just spent $15 million on the George Stephanopoulos case. He actually talked to The View and said, hey, tone it down a little bit because the whole country or ratings are down because that's not where we're at. And this guy, this bonehead, goes out there and does this. This was the easiest fire he ever had because he needed to do it.
By the way, give me that job. I mean, come on, I can follow orders. I mean, how do these people, for all this money, don't follow directions? I follow your direction, Govy. Whatever you tell me to say, I say.
But as Vance said,
JD?
Yeah. JD said, so when you watch the news at night, ABC News tonight, this is what you're watching, which is, by the way, that's where David Muir and all the ratings, you sit there, whatever they tell you, again, is a lie.
Even Elon Musk is falling back in line. The richest man in the world is now somewhat apologetic to Trump.
Because it's a whack job left. He has no choice.
And Trump needs him. Evidently, that Starlink they need in California for this defense, the National Guard. So once again, Elon Musk is back in the fold.
Elon needs some of these government contracts. Elon Musk realized, he talked to 1,000 people, Elon Musk, and they all said, look, Elon, Everything was good. You got the key to the White House. 24 hours later, you're on ketamine, you're on some whacked out crap. You talk about tweeting drunk. This guy has to mention the Epstein link.
What is ketamine? I don't even know. What kind of buzz is that?
I don't know. It's the thing that Matthew Perry ended up
Yeah.
ODing on. I don't know. Supposedly, it's a high that makes you feel
Is
really
it
good.
like Adderall? Is it like
I don't
something
know.
that makes
I
you
guess
come?
it's my guess is it would probably be something that makes you feel as good as like Coke, maybe,
And it's legal?
I don't know if maybe you could get prescribed
Yeah.
ketamine.
No, I see by my friend's bagel store, it says ketamine clinic. There's a big store
Well,
there.
clinic, there could be people to get off of ketamine, maybe.
Oh, maybe
I
that's
think
what
it's
it
very
is. Yeah.
addictive, to do that,
Right.
and you got to keep taking it and stuff like that. But
So let's talk about
wait, I got another going in 60 seconds. We're not even
oh,
done. You got the gymnast, Simone
oh
Biles.
my
Simone
God.
Biles. Here's another one that has to come back and make a couple tweets with Gaines and with the transgender in sports. Another losing cause. She got like obliterated on social media.
What is with these people with this transgender? I was out to dinner the other night. I was out to dinner the other night with my friend. We're sitting at the bar, and this big woman walks in. And the bar's kind of empty, and the two of us are sitting there eating dinner. And this woman, she's got pearls on, and we're talking to her. And, we're laughing and we're having fun. And she's big, and we're talking to her and we're having fun. So I go to the bar, I go to the bathroom, and the
She comes in with you?
No, the bartender says to me, he really likes you. I said, what are you talking about? He said, she's a he. I said, no. And sure enough, it was a he.
Well, you're lucky he didn't follow you in the bathroom.
It was the first time I've ever experienced that.
Right.
It was really funny. And my friend is like really involved in a conversation with he, she. And I had to whisper to him, dude,
Well,
that's not
the
a
way to
she,
stop
it's a he.
right. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Some you really can't tell. That's
But I mean, there's Simone, whatever.
Biles.
Yeah,
She went up to Gaines, and then when all else failed, this 4'9" girl, she's 4'9".
Yeah,
She
Moscow.
basically tells Gaines that she's a man because she's 5'5".
Right.
5'5" is normal, and it was just a stupid. She had to come back and apologize later.
It's normal in my world.
But it's like she had to like apologize, which was like, again, she had nothing to
Now, does
gain.
she have endorsements she's going to lose?
She turned off half the country. So
Yeah,
it was like she obliterated herself. I mean, that's just another person that, like, wow, gone in 60 seconds.
That's why you and I, in our 100th episode, we're at the same spot we were 100 shows ago. We have different beliefs on every issue.
Sometimes we're for one thing and sometimes against.
Right.
I got to tell you.
Like, I'm for letting California fall off the cliff and let it go into the ocean. I don't think Trump should be involved. You're against that, right?
Yeah, you got to save it. You got to save it. It's too good to save.
Transgender, I'm with you on that one.
Shouldn't be in sports. But you know something? Here's the big thing with Riley Gaines that was really something. She fired back at her. And you got to remember, the Simone Biles, she was part of that group of girls that sued Larry Nassar.
Well, he was a bad dude.
Right. But at the same time, Gaines went up to her and said, what would you say to a girl that's 13 years old that has to get undressed in front of a guy that comes into their locker room that has a penis? How do you, if anybody should feel uncomfortable, you should know what it would be like for a 14-year-old girl to have to get undressed in front of a man.
So we're on opposite sides of every issue. Where are you with women being basketball coaches for men's basketball?
I'm fine with that.
She's supposed to go into a men's locker room. And
she doesn't have to go into the men's locker room.
Don't they always have a pep rally at the end, beginning of each game in the locker room?
They can, but there's also a coach's room. And she doesn't have to go there and watch them. Look, women reporters they're like...
Yeah, that's another one.
I mean, I got to tell you, the first time I experienced that, I was in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers locker room with Warren Sapp. And he was buck naked. Naked. And there was this reporter wearing a skirt. And he chews tobacco. And he put down this piece of newspaper. And she straddled the newspaper, not to stand on it. And she's interviewing him. And he's buck naked, and he kept spitting this tobacco between her legs, so it would be on the floor. By the time the interview was done, it looked like she literally took a shit on the newspaper, and he's looking at her like it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable just watching an interview like that.
But Do they have it the other way around where a man interviewer
I don't believe
can
so.
go into
No,
girls' locker
I
room?
don't believe so. But the reporters, they wanted to make sure it's equal, that they can get a story. And I just thought it was a little uncomfortable watching these guys come out of the
Yeah.
shower with a microphone. And I mean, he didn't stop, he just was.
No, talking about that, what happened to Amanda Bolianis? The U.S. Open is this week, right?
Yes.
What happened? She's not on it anymore. That like she took a leave of absence
No, no,
again.
no. I think the U.S. Open is sponsored by Fox.
Oh.
And she's on CBS. This is the 1 week where Fox Sports covers
Oh,
it.
so she's not in it
she's not in
because,
it.
Rory McIlroy
Right.
is in it. They think he's
Shout out to Min Woo Lee. Good luck to you.
Yeah, Rory's one of the main contenders. I think Scotty Scheffler's going to win it. What do you think?
He's the favorite. My guy, my buddy.
Bryson may win it.
Bryson could win it. My guy, Rory could win it. My guy, Min Woo, though, he doesn't hit an accurate drive, and that could be a problem. But luckily, he's never 1 yard off of the fairway. He's generally by the
Yeah, you
barbecue
see
area.
that rough? It's like 6 inches high.
But not for my guy, Min Woo, because he hits the ball 100 yards left.
Except when
and
he's under pressure.
Yeah, but he's by the barbecue in the parking lot. So
Yeah.
these balls are going to come out. He'll be fine. He's so far left, I think he can be okay.
So why do you think Tiger Woods, who's on the injured reserve list, doesn't attend these events like Augusta or the U.S. Open? Why? I mean,
Why?
he wouldn't. Why not?
Why does he need?
Doesn't he want to hang around with the guys
First
and
of all,
see what's going
it's
on?
hilly. It's a lot of to see it. He might as well be at home watching it on his 200-foot TV screen.
That's true.
I mean, for him to have to walk,
With
he might as well
Vanessa
play.
Trump, hanging out on the sofa with Vanessa Trump.
Yeah, I mean, he could start little rumors out there. He could say, "Hey, me and Vanessa are thinking of having a baby." There was rumors that she was pregnant and stuff.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of that Ivanka on TV. I'm not quite sure I understand her Instagram posts.
why? She's trying to get. She's
I mean,
building up her brand again.
What's her brand?
Her.
Her brand is her.
Yeah,
All right.
working out, doing everything. Don't forget, she's very friendly with Bezos.
Right, so he'll build a brand. So how about P. Diddy? I mean, it's week 6 or 7 of this trial. He's probably spent 10 or 20 million on his defense. I still go, he's getting off. Time served. I don't think they've made a case yet.
I think I would agree with you, but it's in New York.
You agree with me?
No, I said I would agree with you, but it's in New York. And New York has
very liberal.
They have a way of finding you guilty, even if you're innocent. So
only if you're a Republican. I don't think P. Diddy's a Republican.
I think that in this case, of what the charges were, as bad as it is, what he did, he's innocent of this RICO charges. But when people are listening to the abuse that he put on these girls, it's pretty hard that you want to convict him, but he didn't really break the law.
He didn't break the law.
They all got stuff for it. They all did it.
How much stuff did they get? I mean, I was reading that. These girls cleaned up.
They got a lot.
A lot.
How about they got an apartment? One's living in a $10,000 a month apartment. So, I mean, they're condo. So, I mean, they got their bags, their Bottega bags, or this. I mean, and they did it on their own will. They could have stopped at any time.
Is what he did any worse than what that Anthony Weiner did, who only got 2.5 years, 2 years? He was a pedophile. He was going after underage kids, and now he's running for governor or mayor again or whatever the hell. I mean, what Pete Diddy did, it was sex work. Look, there's no reason to abuse women or anything, but they were sex workers. They all knew what. He drugged them. I mean, he did bad things. But did he do any worse than Weiner, who only got 3 years?
Well, they took the drugs. If you went up to 100 hookers and you asked them their opinion on this case,
I'd like to know that.
They would turn.
I'm going to Vegas. Maybe I'll interview. Maybe I'll do a podcast out there, Govy.
Good. You know what they would say? You know what these hookers would say? These girls are no different than them. These girls think they're above it all because they got their Bottega and they got this and that. These hookers would say it's the same thing as them getting paid money. They're on the same thing. They're
what
a
is a Bottega? I don't. I know Birkin. What is a Bottega?
It's still what, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000.
Is it? I never bought a Bottega.
Yeah,
I never bought a Bottega. But yeah, I mean, so you think when I go to Vegas this summer, it's going to be 110 degrees. Do you think if I interview for our, Cutty and Govy on the Road show, a couple hookers, they'll say what these girls did is identical to what they do?
Absolutely, that they're hookers too. They would say they are no different than a hooker.
They're probably better because they're only sleeping with one guy, and these hookers in Vegas are sleeping with 10 guys a night.
No, the hooker can, at the end of their hour session, can leave unless you pay for them for like a weekend. They can turn around and say, "I'm done." These people had to do
That's true.
72 hours of nonstop freak offs. I mean, the hooker's saying, "You guys are crazy."
So at the end of a freak off, do they go to P. Diddy? I want to raise. I didn't expect
No.
it to be.
No.
He doesn't say, okay, I'll
No.
give you.
No, and it's like, and he's an abusive guy. And by the way, you talk about sexual fantasies. This guy like is a voyeur guy that likes. You got to look at a guy that likes to watch other men
Don't people do that all the time? Watch porn?
sleep with their girlfriends.
People do that all the
Well,
time.
it's a fetish.
Yeah.
It's a fetish that he has. A lot of people tell you it's a kind of a sick fetish watching other people sleep with your wife while you're watching.
Well, I guess psychologically, they're looking at it like, I don't know if they've ever filmed themselves with their wife and their girlfriend, but they want to see, third party, how their wife or their girlfriend's
Be
performing
careful. Are
within
you
the.
giving me your inner thoughts here? I mean, you're like
I
that.
mean,
You're trying to like.
I had this discussion today with somebody.
I don't want.
I had this discussion with somebody today about, would you do this or would you do that? And, it was interesting hearing the comments back, but, maybe they're looking.
There's some crazy stuff out there when it comes to that. I mean, you get some brilliant guys that are just like, wow, they're
Or you get like these school teachers that you see, they're having sex with a 15-year-old student and it's some buttoned up in a blouse school teacher. And you're like, you got to be kidding me. She's married. She's got 2 kids at home and she's stopping a 15-year-old in class.
It's turning. It used to be that they would be let out. Now they're serving 2 and 3 years. I mean, how about the ones that are married with 3 kids and they were sitting there with some 15-year-old? I mean, I don't understand.
How's that work?
Yeah.
I mean, that is messed up. Anyway, Govy, let's hit this Chinese sabotage. I mean, so Donald Trump today changed his position, evidently made peace with China, or kind of, sort of. We talked about it last week, 300,000 Chinese students are in America. And now Trump is saying it's okay. The good ones can come. But we don't see the Chinese rioting on these college campuses.
They're too busy spying. They're too busy spying.
But they're not. Yeah, they're busy spying.
Wait. The last thing they want to do is go back to President Xi and say, "You won't believe it. I was so close to getting the secrets, but I had this Palestinian flag and I got caught like going from the river to the sea." She doesn't want to hear that.
Right.
They're there to do a job, and every single student, I would probably say 80%. Are beholding to China. And this is a real problem because this is the second time another student at University of Michigan's coming. And when you said Trump's okay with it, he's okay with it as long as he vets them.
But why is that any different than the GI Bill? I mean, you're in the military and you get free college for 4 years. So how about to these Chinese kids? They say, look, we're going to pay for Harvard, we're going to pay for Yale, we're going to pay for Princeton, but you got to give us some info. It's like the same as America does.
One is illegal. When the GI Bill, there's nothing to get caught.
How do you know what they're doing in the Army is legal? They could do reconnaissance. They could do spying. They have to serve 3 or 4 years in the Army.
But they're in the military.
Yeah.
But this one is you're a student and you're doing something and you can go to jail. If they catch you spying, you go to jail.
What is the definition of spying? Reporting back what you see, or breaking into a room and stealing something from a drawer?
Bringing something, a fungus that can attach to the wheat crop.
Well, that's bad. Yeah.
And destroying the whole crop. Look, I believe, if you remember when COVID took place, Trump had the economy zipping along. In Hong Kong, they were demonstrating against China at the time. China was in like a bad spot. Next thing you know, boom, COVID comes, and now that took China off the back burner. How do you know right now China's sitting there saying, Trump has these tariffs in place right now. He's getting control. We used to have this idiot in Biden running it. Hey, we got to stop this guy in his tracks again. All right, instead of COVID, let's come up with another biological warfare. How do you know that that's not taking place?
That's a problem.
And
I agree with you,
and by the way, all Trump's saying with these students, even at Harvard, shouldn't the country right now just be able to say, Harvard, you might be able to accept these guys. All we want is the list so we can vet them. So if you're a student, shouldn't the United States know who is coming in from the Middle Eastern countries into Harvard? Or should Harvard be in control without you knowing, without the government knowing, saying, "Oh yeah, he got a 1600 on his SAT. He's a straight A student. We don't know who he is, but come on in." I would be happy to know that they're being vetted.
Well, I mean, and the whole thing with these colleges, I don't even understand. I was looking it up. It's $100,000 a year with room and board to go to these Ivy League schools. So you multiply that by the amount of students, it's billions and billions of dollars these colleges get. Why do they need federal aid? They're supposed to teach us how to be fiscally conservative and run a business. They're getting billions of dollars in tuition. What do they need federal and donations from people like you? Why do they need federal aid? Billions.
They don't. And I think our country is starting to get aware, because of Trump, of some of these people giving the also aid and the NGOs. Just to go back a little bit, this country's finding out that these rioters in Los Angeles, a peaceful rioter doesn't get handed a gas mask and a leaf blower. A leaf blower, if you put in like firecrackers and you load it into a leaf blower, it fires off like little missiles. I mean, that's not peaceful when a person is handing out these things. And then when you find out that these NGOs are being sponsored by US taxpayer dollars, and one of the big givers behind this is a Walmart heir, a Walton. Now, I know the Walton family is pretty big and there's a lot of people, and sometimes you get that there's the kooky
Yeah.
the kooky third cousin, and the kooky third cousin just happens to be worth $300 million. Maybe she's giving $15 million to a cause that she's not even quite sure of, because it gets like watered down and hidden.
Right. She has so much, she's just giving away to everything, her foundation.
But I guarantee you right now, Walmart in Arkansas, they're sitting there saying, wait a second, do you know cousin Josephine over there gave this money? They can't have this.
Right. Maybe they should call them out. Maybe they should, like at these country clubs, you don't pay your dues. They post your name on the wall. They embarrass you. Maybe they should do that.
They did. Good. Like, I sat there. No one knew about Walmart. I got to tell you, there's a lot of people sitting there at Walmart. Last thing they need is middle America boycotting them because they have some cousin that's funding this stuff.
Right. Govy, let's talk about something fun.
Greta Thunberg?
No, Joy Behar.
Well, Greta Thunberg, I mean, she took this little ship that she filled up enough food to supply 6 people, and she's heading into 2 million people that haven't had food for a month. And then she made like she was a hostage by the IDF.
Right.
Why there's real hostages? Why there's real hostages literally underground in a tunnel for a year and a half.
Right.
And this nut job, who's now 22 years old, is trying to get publicity. What a joke.
It's like that Jesse, what's his name, did that stunt too. What's his name? The guy's in jail in Chicago. He did that something stupid too to just get recognized. Everybody tries.
Jesse Smollett?
Yeah.
He's not in jail. He never made jail.
He never got in jail?
A day.
Is that it?
Yeah, he was.
But he faked it all too, right?
He faked it, yeah.
Yeah, he faked it all. But Joy Behar, look, I get a lot of criticism. We have comments on the show when I say some girl is gorgeous or some girl's hot or something. To all you young ladies out there, this Joy Behar was with this Bethany Frankel. She's 53 years old. Did you see her in that bathing suit?
Yes.
She looked pretty damn good.
And
you're 53 and you look that good? I mean, why is somebody breaking your stones?
I'm going to make it even worse. Bethany Frankel.
I don't even like Bethany Frankel, but she looked great.
Right, but I'm going to tell you what's worse about it. She's dead honest. She told everybody she's in this swimsuit pictorial. She made the swimsuit edition. And she said, every single girl there, we had a 2-hour glam session. She says, I do not look like this. This is after 2 hours of making me look as good as possible. She came up front and said that. Joy Behar turns around and said she has fake boobs. First of all, she said a breast lift. I'm not quite sure.
I looked at them on TV. They weren't fake.
They're not.
They looked real. They look real.
But why would this 82-year-old woman pick on someone 53 who looks great? I think today's 53-year-old woman's was yesterday's 30s. I think they look great. And for why be a hater? Like, why be a hater?
I think she looked terrific. And I just think it's just wrong. Maybe jealousy, whatever. Maybe this woman never looked that good. Well, Govy, I was thinking maybe we should do, since this is our 100th show, maybe we should have our team, our editorial team, go back through our 100 shows and pick clips, funny clips, and do a montage show next week when I'm up north. I'm not here next week, folks. Maybe we should put an hour show together of funny clips.
Or some of our predictions.
Well, it'll be pictures of your hair gray and my hair gray to brown.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
Or funny pics. What did you say? Funny clips or pics?
Funny clips and everything. I do want to give a shout out to
Is this Tommy Paul and Jess Picola?
Well, no, Tommy Paul and the French Open, by the way. The French Open was one of the greatest sporting events to have taken place in the last 20 years. Sinner versus Alcaraz. That was just unbelievable. Tennis
What do you
match,
think?
5.5 hour
What do you
match.
think? How many people watch tennis? I don't know anybody besides you that watches tennis.
That match, I guarantee you, there were millions and millions around the world that watched that match.
Around the world, and in the United States, how many people?
A lot, millions.
More than a million?
Much more than.
We're going to get the statistics.
Much more than a million. It was the greatest, one of the greatest tennis matches of all time, if not the greatest tennis match of all time.
How many sets did it go? I didn't even watch it.
5 sets, tiebreaker, 5.5 hours. Imagine this.
That's a long time.
There were people that left their home, drove to the airport, got on a plane, flew to Los Angeles, and the match was still going on.
That's crazy.
I mean, just the shape and everything that you have. But I do want to give a shout out. We have
what was it on? Grass or?
It was on clay.
Clay.
The clay. I do want to give a shout out. We have a follower, a listener. His name's Ethan. He watches every single show. His comments aren't always the nicest. And, I thought, okay, we have a hater. But you know what? At the end of the day, there's a million podcasts out there.
Well, it's constructive criticism,
It's constructive. There's a million podcasts out there, and he still finds time to watch our show.
We appreciate
every
it.
week, and I appreciate that. So shout out to you, Ethan. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, any criticism is constructive
agree.
as far as I could see. That's why that book, Left Foot, Right Foot, Survival Guide for Business and Life, is all about lessons learned. And I learned a lesson from this guy this week, that this business that we have going, he busted my stones on every aspect of the business. And I looked at every comment and I said, that's constructive criticism. Maybe he's right. So we'll see. Hopefully we're right. Maybe he's
right. But if I can learn, I just wanted Ethan to know I'm going to try to be even better.
And you're great, Govy. You are a podcast superstar.
And I just want you to know, I'll be cheering for you it's Happy Father's Day that's coming up. I will be cheering for a much delayed flight for you and a little turbulence for you, just to give you back what you gave me.
So I am bringing, when my son was in first grade down here, he went to the Rosarian Academy in Florida. You had to I used to pick him up at the carpool line at Catholic school, and you had to they gave you this placard with the kid's name and what grade he was in. So I had to put that in my car, and I was cleaning out my office, and I see this placard that says his name, first grade, So I'm going to be sitting in the audience holding this up, the placard,
Wow.
Try and spook him a little. But he's president of his class, so give a little speech.
Going to Georgetown?
He's going to Georgetown. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's exciting. Washington, D.C. So
what does he want to be?
He wants to be president of the United States.
It could happen.
Yeah.
It could definitely happen.
Let's see. How many years would that be? It'd be 20 or 30 years. How old was Barack Obama when he was president, or Bill
40s?
Clinton? Yeah, 40s. Yeah, it's 25 years. Govy, well, we went over everything here except, do you think it's not a fun subject. I mean, we're talking about the Stanley Cup. Looks like the Panthers are doing good.
That's great being down here. They're a fun team, scrappy team.
Can you watch hockey on TV, though? I just have a tough time following that puck.
I only watch the playoffs, and I like Florida. Since I'm down here now, I'm a Flyers fan, but I like the Florida Panthers. They remind me of the Broad Street Bullets back in the day, so I kind of like them.
But why can't they perfect hockey on TV? It's so hard to follow that puck.
Because the puck moves too fast. It's one of the few sports that's better. It's completely different being at the arena than here. Basketball, OKC, they're a dynasty.
Yeah.
They're going to win for the next 3 years. This is just the first. This is going to be their first championship of the next 2, at least. That's how good they are. And then, how
about last thing? Bad subject. Israel. Do you think they're going to take out Iran?
Yes.
Think that's happening?
Did I tell you that the Pope wasn't going to make it?
Yeah.
Did I tell you that Trump was going to run the table?
Well, I'm not going to make it either, but you got to give me a year.
Did I tell you that Trump was going to run the table? Did I tell you to buy Tesla when it was down and still going to come back up?
Right.
Well, Israel's going to take out Iran.
When? You got to give us a timeline.
Before the end of July.
What happens when you say take them out? What are they going to do?
They're going to take out their whole nuclear facilities.
How are they going to do that?
They already know where they're at. It could be internally. However it's going to be because Trump is doing everything he can to negotiate. He already knows in his heart Iran is going full steam ahead. They're yesing him to death.
So, like, you're Ayatollah Khomeini, is that his name?
Yeah.
Why is he doing this? He's going to get obliterated. Doesn't he know? Is that like they're going to be closer to God when they get obliterated? Or, I mean,
I think he has no choice. He came this far. I'll tell you what.
Isn't it easier for Israel to kill one guy? Just go after that guy and blow him up?
Why? No, but I tell you what, because there's people that follow right after him.
Nah.
Yeah, here's the thing. They came so many years to get to this point. They are like on the goal line. They want to see it through. And what they want to see is they want to be like Rocket Man. Rocket Man hasn't done anything yet, but he pokes the bear a lot. And they feel that they would love to be able to poke the bear with Israel if they had this, so all their other people could start sending all the other stuff and causing aggravation for Israel. And they're also funding all these movements on the campus. They love this.
I think Rocket Man's a little more sophisticated. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. He likes the money. He likes the glory. He likes the lifestyle. I don't think Iran's like this. I think they're just religious zealots that are nuts.
Well, the Rocket Man doesn't stop another country from existing.
No.
This guy wants Israel to be obliterated.
Rocket Man just wants to flex his muscles and make the world scared. I don't think maybe he will, but I don't really think he's nuts like Ayatollah Khomeini, where he's supporting the Houthis, the Hamas, and all this evil on earth.
Right.
I mean, they got to take him out. So, Govy, last question, because our show is blitzing through the end. What do you think we should do for our next 100 shows? I mean, should we just continue this path forward? Maybe we should get our subscribers to give us some comments, any suggestions for some good shows for the next 100 shows.
We should try to make it a point that if we would get some comments, some feedback, we would like to answer some of the comments.
Question
that we
and
get.
answer.
Yeah. If there's anything that they want us to talk about or things that we're doing wrong, let us know.
Govy's hair is real, folks. I mean, that would be a question, right?
I don't know. I shook my head. I jumped in the pool and shook it.
No, that would be fun. For our next 100 shows, give us some comments, and should we talk more sex? Should we talk more sports? Should we talk more Donald Trump, more politics?
Me with these sex things because you're like in the P. Diddy. Like, I got to make sure that you're like.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm just curious. I mean, when the federal government or whoever it is going after this guy with RICO charges, I mean, what is this? I'm trying to look. What he did, it's horrible. He should be in jail. But what legally, other than crossing state lines, whatever that bullshit is? I mean, what are they really going to nail this guy the rest of his life for? I mean, they're looking for a life sentence for this guy. He's not getting a life sentence. He's going to get.
No, he's not going to get a life sentence.
He's got the best lawyers. He's going to get.
He might get time served.
What?
He might get time served.
He's going to get time served at MDC.
He's been there almost a year.
Yeah, at MDC, Brooklyn. Bad place. All right, folks, we're going to send you some reels from
Happy Father's Day out there to all fathers.
My travels and how horrific Govy's voting. Govy really wants it to be a disaster for me, this traveling.
I would like it to be a little thunderstorm.
Right. You want me to be sitting around in an airport, sleeping on a bench somewhere?
No, I want you the point of no return, where they tell you it's a half hour late, then it's another hour, and it has it where should I leave, should I not leave, but you have to stick it out. I want it to be something like that.
At what point do I get a free ticket? Do I ask for a free ticket?
You don't get one. It has to be like not due to weather, this, that.
All right, Govy. I have a carry-on bag, so I'm not worried about losing my luggage.
All right,
folks. Have a great week.
See ya.